Imagine waking up to find your bank account closed, your credit cards declined, and your paycheck completely blocked. No warning, no explanation, just erased from the financial system. Now, this isn't a conspiracy, it's happening right now. People are being debanked for their political views, their businesses, even the assets that they invested. And just last week, Donald Trump called out the Bank of America CEO and Chase for shutting down and shutting out conservatives. And the truth of this is simple. When you put your money in the bank, my friends, it's no longer yours. So how do you protect yourself? How do you build a financial system that gives you the power of a bank without being at the mercy of one? Well, my friends, in this video today, I'm going to share with you how to debank the banks, how to take back control over your money, and how to create a financial fortress that no one can shut down. Now, if you're new to this channel, my name is Ryan Dealey, and on this channel, we expose the hidden financial traps that keep you stuck, and we show you how to break free. We help people achieve financial freedom in 10 years or less by taking control over their money and building a passive income machine investment system. Today, we're diving into debanking, what it is, why it's accelerating under government pressure, and most importantly, how to protect yourself before it might be too late. And now, with Donald Trump calling out the biggest banks in America, the issue is more urgent than ever. So let's get into it. To set the stage, I want you to take a look at this clip where newly appointed President Donald Trump calls out Bank of America and Jamie Dimon of Chase Bank for debanking people and locking them out of the American economic system.
Speaking of you, and you've done a fantastic job, but I hope you start opening your bank to conservatives, because many conservatives complain that the banks are not allowing them to do business within the bank, and that included a place called Bank of America. They don't take conservative business, and I don't know if the regulators mandated that because of Biden or what, but you and Jamie and everybody, I hope you're going to open your banks to conservatives, because what you're doing is wrong.
I mean, did you hear what he just said? I hope you open your banks to conservatives, because what you're doing is wrong. But this isn't new. Debanking has been happening for years. Trump himself was locked out of the banking system after his loss to Joe Biden. Melania Trump and their son, Barron, were completely denied bank accounts from a bank that they had done business with for years. Dinesh D'Souza was kicked out of Chase Bank with no explanation, and over 30 crypto founders have been debanked under Joe Biden's administration. And it's not just happening to political figures, it can happen to anyone. The banking system is being weaponized. If you hold the wrong political view, if you donate to the wrong cause, or you run a business that the government doesn't like, you can literally be erased from the financial system overnight. And it's not just about your bank account. If you're debanked, you could also lose access to credit cards, payroll platforms, business loans. Your entire financial life could be shut down in an instant. Tech billionaire Marc Andreessen warned about this on a recent Joe Rogan podcast episode.
So debanking is when you as either a person or your company are literally kicked out of the banking system.
Like they did to Kanye.
Exactly, like they did to Kanye. My partner Ben's father has been debanked.
Really?
We had an employee who
for what?
For having the wrong politics, for saying unacceptable things. Under current banking regulations, here's a great thing. Under current banking regulations, after all the reforms of the last 20 years, there's now a category called a politically exposed person, PEP. And if you are a PEP, you are required by financial regulators to kick them off to kick them out of your bank. You're not allowed to have them.
What if you're politically on the left?
Well, that's fine.
No,
because they're not politically exposed.
So no one on the left gets debanked?
I have not heard of a single instance of anybody on the left getting debanked.
Can you tell me what the person that you know did, what they said that got them debanked?
Oh, well, I mean, David Horowitz is a right-wing, he's pro-Trump. I mean, he's said all kinds of things. He's been very anti-Islamic terrorism. He's been very worried about migration, all these things.
And they debanked him for that?
Yeah, they debanked him. So you get kicked out of your bank account. You get kicked out of you can't do credit card transactions. But, by the way, you can't
How is that legal?
Well, exactly. So this is the thing. And then you go into this thing of like, well, this is where the government and the companies get intertwined. Back to your fascism point, which is there's a constitutional amendment that says the government can't restrict your speech, but there's no constitutional amendment that says the government can't debank you.
If you want to see the full breakdown on how Joe Rogan reacted to this very concept, check out the show notes below to see the entire video I recorded. The practice of debanking is a form of censorship. It's a form of weaponization of the financial system. And it began with Operation Chokehold 2.0, where the Obama administration started this strategy by debanking legal businesses like gun shops, gambling, and crypto. Under Biden, the concept, the weaponization of debanking went into full-scale weapon mode, targeting political rivals and using the digital banking system to control access to money and lock you out of the economy. The worst part about debanking is there is zero law protecting you. The First Amendment protects free speech, but there's nothing stopping the government from pressuring banks to shut you down. They don't need to pass a law or make an official announcement. They just call the banks and make a recommendation, and suddenly your accounts are closed. You're gone. This is raw administrative power and financial censorship at scale. So now that we understand the problem, what's the solution? While it might be difficult to operate completely outside of the banking system, you can actually shield yourself from financial control by creating a private financial account. One that removes your money from the traditional banking world while still allowing you to leverage and multiply it just like a bank does. This strategy is often referred to as the infinite banking strategy. It was pioneered by the late Nelson Nash, and this system turns the tables on banks by putting you in control of your capital instead of relying on traditional financial institutions that can freeze, restrict, or devalue your money at will. Infinite banking allows you to create a private banking system that no one can shut down. Here's how the strategy works. At its core, infinite banking is built on a properly designed, overfunded whole life insurance policy. But unlike a traditional bank account where your money is subject to government control, inflation, and institutional risk, a whole life insurance policy is a private contract between you, a private individual, and a completely private, mutually owned insurance company. The companies that back these type of contracts are some of the most oldest and financially stable institutions in America, dating back well over 100 years, some of them approaching 200 years of being in business, of meeting their guarantees, and allowing people to literally function as their own bank with these type of policies. They're not publicly traded companies, meaning they aren't influenced by Wall Street or government bailouts or shareholders that don't have any skin in the game. So here's how you set up your own banking system inside of one of these policies. Number one, you determine how much capital you want to store in your private account. That number is completely up to you. I personally like to think of this as an annual savings goal and any one-time transfer of cash that I might have right now. So for example, if I can save $30,000 a year and I have $100,000 of cash sitting in my bank account that I don't want exposed to risk anymore, that's how I would set up my own private account. I would transfer money from my bank account into one of these accounts, and then I would redirect my savings into one of these private policies. Step number two is how the policy is structured. Now, my friends, this is critically important because the policy has to be structured to buy the least amount of life insurance with every dollar that's going in, but we want to keep the policy qualified as life insurance. Now, what this does is when we transfer all of this money in, we buy just enough death benefit to keep the policy qualified as life insurance for tax purposes only. Life insurance is one of only 3 assets that gives us completely tax-free growth. So now that we've bought the least amount of life insurance, all of the additional overfunding, all of the additional premiums are building up what is called cash value. This is where the banking feature comes in. And this brings me to step 3. Once the account is structured to minimize insurance and maximize cash value, I can now put money into it on an annual basis, building up a bigger and a bigger reservoir of wealth, all while keeping my money private, all while keeping it tax-free, and all while being able to start using the leverage concept that banks use every single day with money. Really quickly, here are some of the key benefits of infinite banking. When you set up an infinite banking policy, the insurance company enters into a private contract with you, a private individual, and remember, they're private insurance companies, and these contracts guarantee the following. Number one, that your capital grows tax-free. Your money earns uninterrupted compound interest, meaning it continues to grow even when you're leveraging the value of your account. Number two, you get a guaranteed contractually locked in return. These companies have been paying dividends and guaranteed returns for literally hundreds of years without missing a single year. Number three, you'll have immediate access and liquidity, meaning you can access your cash value at any time for any reason, either as a direct withdrawal from the account or more powerfully through a policy loan. And this is a personal line of credit secured by your policy. And here's how you start using this line of credit to operate like a bank. When you access your cash value via a policy loan, your money continues to compound inside of your account even while you're using it elsewhere, because the line of credit allows you to access the insurance company's money to accomplish all of your short-term goals while keeping your money compounding and growing. I want you to consider this is exactly how banks operate. When you put money into a bank account, they keep the minimum amount that they have to, regulated by the FDIC, and then they leverage the rest of your money to operate their entire business. They use your money to make them wealthy, to make a profit. With With infinite banking, you are the one earning interest instead of the banks. You are the one taking advantage of the concept of leverage instead of the banks. You're turning the tables on the most powerful financial system there is in the world. So who's using this type of strategy? This isn't a new strategy. It's just hidden from the general public. The wealthiest families and corporations and banks have been using this exact system for decades. Consider just a few examples. The Rockefellers have literally built generational wealth using privately owned whole life insurance and life insurance trusts. Billionaires like Warren Buffett and Bill Gates, these guys store millions of dollars in these type of policies. Banks themselves are the largest buyers of high cash value whole life insurance. It's called bank-owned life insurance, and banks have a standing order to buy as much as they're legally allowed to buy. Major corporations like McDonald's, Walt Disney, JCPenney, all of them use these type of policies to fund their businesses when the banks refuse to lend to them. Even politicians and the ultra wealthy store their money in these accounts because they provide guaranteed growth, tax-free access, and protect their money from all forms of volatility. I mean, if this one doesn't stand out, consider this crazy example. NFL coach Jim Harbaugh, when he left the NFL to go coach the University of Michigan, he had 35% of his total compensation, equaling $14 million, routed directly to an overfunded life insurance policy because he, like you now, understands the power of privacy, the power of control, and the power of eliminating the taxes from your future economic system. This is the power of infinite banking. This is why at the core of the passive income machine investment strategy, we use overfunded high cash value life insurance. This is a staging point for all of our dollars. It's our warehouse of wealth, and we leverage these policies to go buy real cash flowing assets and use the profit from those assets to replenish our vault line of credit, and we repeat that process over and over again. We create literally compound cash flow with money working in two assets simultaneously. So the key to infinite banking is understanding how banks operate and then using the exact same system in your policy to multiply the use of every dollar that you have. So I want you to consider this. How do banks use your money? When you deposit money into a bank account, what happens to it? Does the bank store it safely inside of the vault waiting for you to withdraw it? No, we know exactly what they do. They immediately turn around and lend out your money to make a profit for themselves. Banks don't just hold money. In fact, they hold as little as they possibly have to. They move money. The velocity of money is what makes a bank wealthy. They use money and they create leverage. They earn interest on your deposits while continuing to lend, invest, and multiply their returns. Most people accept the truth of banking as just the way money works, but the wealthy don't just accept it, they play by the same rules with their own money. Those who understand infinite banking, they refuse to let the banks profit off of their money while taking all of the risk. Instead, they simply become the bank. So once your infinite banking policy is set up, all of the cash that you've put into your account, it turns into your very own private line of credit. The insurance company allows you to borrow against your policy up to the amount of cash value you've built without ever withdrawing your money. This is a private loan that you don't have to apply for. You control it 100%. It's contractually guaranteed. Your policy ensures that you can access your capital anytime you want. The insurance company, they simply use your death benefit as collateral. If you pass away with a loan outstanding, they pay out the death benefit minus the outstanding loan. This ensures no risk to the insurance company. But this also gives you the ability to use leverage just like a bank without ever interrupting your compounding growth. The key to wealth is actually really pretty simple. It's uninterrupted compound interest. I want you to imagine for a moment, what could you do if you knew for the next 10, 15, 20, 30, 50, 100 years that your money can continuously compound? You would tap into the seventh world wonder, compound interest. Many people attribute to Einstein that those who understand compound interest earn it, those who don't pay it. You now, my friends, have an avenue to have your money continuously compounding, but rather than just sitting back and hoping one day, 50 years down the road, you're wealthy, you can leverage the value of your money today to accomplish all of your short-term goals. I want you to imagine really quick what would be possible in your financial life if you knew that you had uninterrupted compound interest and access to every dollar that was continuously compounding. This is where the infinite banking strategy takes off. The options are only limited by your creativity. For me, over the years, I've used my policies to buy rental properties. I've used my policies to start businesses, to take family vacations, to pay for medical bills, to build a home movie theater, to do so many different things, all while having my money compound and grow. And the best part about that is now every single dollar in my personal economy can do multiple jobs. This allows me to accelerate the speed at which I achieve all of my financial goals. And this is why I know it's possible for you, no matter where you're starting from, to achieve financial freedom in 10 years or less. You see, my friends, the wealthy don't just do to average things better than the average individual, they do the exact opposite. The key to achieving financial freedom in 10 years or less, it comes down to one simple concept: leverage. Do you have an asset that you can leverage that puts you in control? Most assets, they just don't have the ability for you to leverage it. But with infinite banking, with an overfunded whole life insurance policy, now every dollar can be leveraged and it remains 100% in your control. The only question is, what will you do about it? And will you take the time right now to set up a system outside of the banking system to protect your wealth and accelerate the growth and the progress towards financial freedom? My friends, the choice is yours. So don't wait until it's too late. The system, it's already shifting, and those who don't act now, they might find themselves locked out when they need financial access the most. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to hit subscribe and share this video with someone that you love and trust. Friends don't let friends retire broke. And if you're wanting to set up a overfunded whole life insurance policy, we call it a vault, as part of your financial strategy to become financially free in 10 years or less, drop the comment vault below and we'll hit you up and have a conversation one-on-one on how this strategy can work for your financial situation. I'll see you in the next video. Fearless.